yeah, we'll be able to do it in a day, no problem. Gosh, a whole morning's plan lesson, that's a privilege. Didn't quite turn out like that.
It was quite difficult to sort of think, OK, we've actually only got an hour, which bits are we going to use?
I was much more stressed than Lou.
But help is on hand from their head of department, Emma Barker, and she'll be sitting in on their lesson later.
I think Sarah will relish the fact that this is a drama challenge and really be in her element with it. It's a play, Romeo and Juliet, that we've studied. We used to do it at Key Stage 4, and then we're about to start teaching at Key Stage 3, so she's familiar with the text, and I know she's really sort of brought it to life in the way she's taught it before. Lou hasn't taught this text at all. What are the characters? Sorry, I'm not clear what they're... Are they all the same characters?
Happiness or anger.
OK, and they're using the insults?
Yes.
Being happy with them or being angry with them?
Yes. That's not really going to work, is it?
No, it might do. We did get a little bit stressed in the preparation process insofar as we couldn't include everything.
A's on one side, B's on the other, family snapshot.
Why are we doing a family snapshot?
Because
to
link into
them.
It's
from the individual to
different
the broad
families.
and the gangs.
Yeah.
So I was very glad of some clarity from Emma, who didn't have all the experience that we'd had in the morning and therefore could actually see things that would work immediately and was able to help us discard things that wouldn't work.
I think that maybe we can get them to think about the way they use their voice, the way they use their body as they deliver their line to really push their message home.
And then when you've gone through the text, I think you want perhaps ask them to draw some conclusions about language. So that's when you go back to the language focus. What do you notice about the words you're actually saying?
I think the idea from Yolande of using your body to express an emotion was something that was quite small and accessible, and we wanted to start with that.
What we did is happy with my family, hate your family.
So we're both happy together and then hate together.
So that's what you do.
Yeah, well done.
And in that case, that's how we use the props. So you do the happy family snapshot. Sure. So when you're doing that, we've got them on two different halves. So you sort of push the most important things we thought to explore were kind of this idea of love and hate and the kind of pathway and the idea of gang culture and hostility.
And that is something that's really relevant to our students.
But will their students share Lewis and Sarah's enthusiasm for Shakespeare?
Students here, as in other schools, will be aware of representation of youth violence more and more in the media. We hear about it a lot more and they're aware of it a lot more. And I think seeing that Shakespeare was dealing with similar issues is something that makes the text come to life for them. The class is a Year 7 class, so they may well have experienced Shakespeare at primary level. I would doubt that they've ever studied a whole play, and I'm not sure how much drama they would have done, so this will be a really good opportunity for them to get stuck in role, I hope.
For the lesson, they'll be using the school's drama space, but for Lewis, it's his first time teaching outside his classroom.
It's the first time he's probably experienced a drama space as a teacher, and I'm sure it was a bit of a shock.
We are going to do a lesson based quite centrally around performance today. Because normally my lessons are taught with desks in front of the students and pens and books in front of the students, and even though we kind of have an interactive environment around that, it's certainly not an environment where there are no books and people are sitting on the floor. So through sort of experimenting and putting yourself in there and doing bits of acting and stuff yourself, you have more to draw on and to pass on. Dobby, tell me something about a rose then. What does it make you feel? What emotions does it make you feel?
Probably like two-sided, because a rose, it looks nice, but it has thorns.
Right, okay.
So it might feel like you're in love or something.
Right, good.
It kind of makes me think of war, because like the wars of the roses and
right,
stuff.
okay, good.
Brilliant.
They gave more in response to the objects at the beginning than I ever thought they would. It was lovely to hear what they had to say, and it made it very easy for us to find a route through.
What feelings inside might you associate with seeing a knife like that? Frank?
Is it like anger and you might feel a bit scared?
Say if you was in a fight or something and someone would come out with a knife.
Why would that change it? What would that do to the fight, Dan?
Just, I don't know, sort of like ruin it.
It would ruin it. It would. What? Yeah. Okay. When I say the words hoodie to you, what kind of emotions might you associate when you see or when you wear a hoodie?
We get a lot of press at the minute, or ongoing at the minute, saying what other people think when they see hoodies. But students who wear hoodies and perhaps could be associated with the negative connotations of wearing a hoodie, it's really interesting to see perhaps what they can come up with when they just get asked to disassociate themselves from wearing a hoodie but just see it as an object. And so that was really interesting and got some fascinating emotions from the kids.
Look, like, because you said on a Sunday you'd put your hoodie on and feel warm and snug.
Yeah.
Like you cuddle up in your hoodie.
Absolutely. So that idea of feeling warm and maybe cosy and safe.
If it was like really late and at night and you didn't really want to be seen.
Okay, so the idea of it being a camouflage, something to hide behind. Yeah. Lovely.
Ashamed of your face.
Ashamed of your face.
Yeah,
so it goes back to that idea of wanting to hide behind your hoodie.
Yeah.
Fantastic,
okay.
Thank you very much. Put your hands down, Guy. I want you to create a physical representation with your body, with no voice at all, for one of those emotions. I'm going to give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and action.
It was directly taken from the way Yolanda started with us, actually. She kind of got us doing this sort of simple freeze and expression of emotion. We thought it would probably be quite useful for the students to do the same, feel their way around the space and do something basic before we introduced kind of the emotional side of what was to come.
Tony?
Anger.
Anger. OK, I'm feeling anger.
Yeah.
Sabrina, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Anger, lovely. OK, beautiful. Guys, you two want to unfreeze? Just stay where you are.
And
Luke?
What about Luke? What about Luke? Go on, Jamie.
Worried or scared.
George?
Like, sad.
Sad, sorrow, OK.
He looks quite dangerous.
He certainly does look quite dangerous. What else?
Disguise.
Disguise. Attic, share and reveal your disguise. What was it?
It was all of them, actually.
It was all of them. You are multi-talented and multitasking.
Lovely.
Can we clap our actors, please?
It's halfway through their lesson, and their head of department, Emma, has been taking notes.
That was lovely.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice to have more of the students using a bit more of the language and to look a little bit more about the patterning of the language. I think the football was there perhaps to invite those kind of comparisons, that there's a sort of a to and fro and that one side does something and that promotes a specific response from the other side. I like the way they made the links immediately at the beginning between the sort of the different emotions, and I thought the hoodie worked really well as one of the props in inspiring them to think about sort of it as camouflage and that you're hiding something but that you're also sort of presenting a particular face to the world. And I thought the connotations of the objects were really apparent to the students and they were able to use them really readily in their drama. So I was really, really pleased.
Emma didn't need to wait much longer for some text. Lewis and Sarah have now separated the class into the Montagues and the Capulets and are about to try out the cussing scene.
Leon, I want you to be really brave and start this off. We are now going to use text from Romeo and Juliet to really convey your feelings to the opposite side. 3, 2, 1, action!
Do you like your fun at me, sir?
No! Brilliant! OK, and freeze, 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 freeze. Brilliant!
The cussing was great. It was a bit mayhemic. But it was, again, they took it and ran with it themselves.
Do you quarrel, sir?
It's certainly something they're familiar with because they curse each other a lot during the school day in the corridors and at the beginning of lessons till you settle them down. So it was something. It was good to kind of make them aware that this is part of literary heritage as well, and they did really understand that.
I would like Montagues and Capulets to find their initial eyeball partner and make that eye contact. Give it your best shot. 3, 2, 1, action.
Like your mum? You lie!
Okay. actually happens in this room when an insult gets thrown? OK, let's hear first of all from the Montagues. Go on.
You like get angry, so like, and excited to say more cusses to them.
OK, so getting one cuss makes you do more. So one insult is provoking a response, even if it is not on the green paper. Fantastic, guys. And they themselves saw the build-up of how that could come into a much more serious fight. When you add the words that turn it into a modern-day cuss, as we've just said here, what happened to this room when Dobby made that choice?
Then you think this is it. Everyone's just going to start.
Why is everyone just going to start?
Because people are going to laugh, but some people take it serious.
And if you took it seriously, for me to have taken that as something that they'd learned in the lesson, or been able to understand through a tiny bit of Shakespeare text and a tiny bit of physicalisation of emotion, I was really pleased. That for me was a really positive outcome.
When you go to a football match, you see opposing fans throwing cusses back and forth, a bit like we've just done. I wouldn't feel as concerned or apprehensive about taking a drama lesson now, whereas before, if someone had asked me to cover a drama lesson or get involved in drama, I'd have probably been fairly apprehensive about it. Whereas now, having seen a bit and done a little bit with Sarah, I feel that drama is not necessarily to be feared.
The two warring families, the Capulets and the Montagues, finally, after hundreds of years, made friends.
If you'd like to try out teaching outside the box, why not get in touch with your local theatre? They usually have seasons of educational performances and workshops for teachers and schools. There's some helpful web links on the page associated with this programme at teachers.tv.
I learnt some things about Romeo and Juliet and how objects can be connected to different emotions.
About roses, when it says something so beautiful can be so hurtful.
Because of these two families arguing, like two people died just from their families. So
at first I thought Shakespeare was boring and that, but when we got to act out scenes and sort of joke around with each other and that, I just sort of find it kind of fun.